Dailies today and mahabusu baba yao, taarifa kuu kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili la Taifa Leo. Sema aliyekuwa gavana ahukumiwa kifungo cha miaka 12 jela au faini ya shilingi milioni 53 kuhusu tenda ya mamilioni. Ferdinand Waititu kama julikana kama baba yao, jana alikabidhiwa maafisa wa magereza kuanza kifungo cha miaka 12 baada ya kushindwa kulipa mara moja faini ya milioni 53.6. Habari kamili kwenye ukurasa wa pili, lakini pale kuna picha inamwonyesha baba yao akifungwa pingu tayari kupelekwa kizimbani. Ni kizimbani ama ni jela? Alienda Industrial Area Police Station prison until he is able to raise the 53.6 million shillings. The wife was fined about $500,000 shillings. Yes. Hopefully she managed to pay yesterday. I'm not so sure. But otherwise, she would also have to spend the night in prison as they try to raise the fine amount.
Or 1 year jail term.
For her?
Yes.
Yes, but for him, 12 years. 12 years, 53 million shillings, what do you think? Talipa?
Pocket change.
Utatafuta hiyo pesa.
Baba yao.
Yeah. And this raises a question on whether this punishments are punitive enough. If I can raise this fine. Sinajua tu si hata wakini hukumu siku nyingine nita raise fine na nilipe niendelee. Yeah. So maswali yanaulizwa pale. Habari zingine pale juu, Raila roho mkononi, hatua ya ghafla ya nchi za SADC ikishangaza wengi. Asema maafisa wa kampeni ya mgombeaji wa Kenya wa kiti cha mwenyekiti wa AUC Raila Odinga wangali na ujasiri atashinda hata licha ya nchi 16 za SADC kumuunga raia wa Madagascar Richard James Randriamandrato dakika za mwisho. Yeah.
I saw that somewhere that Kenya sahi kichwa inawaka inafikiria itaingia SADC aje.
Richard James Randriamandrato. Randriamandrato.
Mandrato.
Enye SADC wakijiondoa kizungumkuti. Vidokezo zaidi kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili. Sifa isiyofutika ya Aga Khan duniani, wanazidi kuzungumzia sifa za Aga Khan. Na ghasia mazishini, familia yadaiwa fidia ya milioni 1.5. Wanasema vurugu za kisiasa kwenye mazishi ya Chifu Agostino Odongo zimefanya familia yake kutozwa shilingi milioni 1.5 kufidia vifaa vilivyoharibiwa. Now imagine sio wewe ulileta shida, ni wanasiasa walikuja akaleta vita, sasa unalipa. Trump na Putin, Zelensky wajadiliana. Rais Trump asema Putin na Zelensky ni yule wa Ukraine, wameonyesha nia ya kukumbatia amani. Gazeti la Taifa Leo.
Standard, kick out Wetangúla is the main story there. As Emilio call from his public persona, no one can deny his gift of eloquence, which is coupled with a deep understanding of the law. The Speaker's latest ruling in Parliament has, however, not gone down well with the opposition, and his law peers were now calling for his ouster. Story on pages 4, 6, and 7. Tunaona picha pale ya Papa ya Roma akiwa amekasirika kweli kweli. And you know, I saw another story on another newspaper inasema Ruto's move to save Wetangúla. And yesterday it was alleged that, Ruto, the president, called for Junet Mohammed, that is the minority leader.
He was invited to State House.
Yes.
Did he go?
He didn't. Junet didn't go. Now inakuwa hard for the president to do something, because now Kimani Ichung'wah was also called there. So we don't know if they went, but we know Junet did not go. That's the top story there. On the top strip, Waititu pays the price for his corrupt ways. Hiyo tumesema sana katika hizo gazeti zingine. True love put to test in hard times. Mambo ya Valentine. Burundi puts Kagame on attack notice. Story on page 22. Down here, Raila's date with AU seat finally arrives, and tomorrow heads of state will decide whether Raila Odinga becomes the continent's CEO, a decision that will reverberate across the country. Tomorrow is the day. Story on page 2 and 3, and KCSE charges proposal angers parents and MPs. What are these charges? Let's see. Proposed measures to address education sector deficit. A lot has been mentioned there. So this story is on page 10 of the Standard. Quite interesting. You can take a look at it later on. That's the Standard.
All right, on the back page of the Standard, for lovers of the English Premier League, they talk about what remains after Liverpool were held to a 2-2 draw by Everton. And they look at Liverpool's final 14 EPL games as well as Arsenal's final 14 EPL games, just to know, hey, pale mambo ni kizungumkuti. So yes, you can get your latest on matters EPL there. Let's take a look at the Star. We do have a physical copy there. They talk about half of students in varsities always high. This is a report released yesterday on the drug abuse, especially in institutions of learning. It's also there on the front page of the Daily Nation. Report lays bare drug abuse crisis in universities. So wanasema vijana wakiwa shuleni. Kuanga most of the time wako pamoja, if you know what I mean. Addiction and depression devastate universities. That's a big story there. And it's interesting because today we are having the youth perspective right here. We'll be looking at that. Waititu jailed for 12 years in 588 million shilling case. That story also features on the front page, as well as make or break as diplomatic intrigues play out in Raila race. So these are the three main stories. Being the weekend, of course, the Siasa and Sasa pullout. Majority-minority debate attests to weak governance. That story is in this inside pages of Siasa pullout on the Star this weekend.
All right. Daily Nation. Top story there, how Raila AUC vote will shape Ruto 2027 race. Pivotal veteran politician Raila Odinga's fate in tomorrow's election of the AU Commission chairperson will have huge political ramifications back home. Win or loss, it will trigger new realignments with key players in the 2027 State House contest, including President William Ruto, watching keenly and hoping for a favorable outcome. Odinga's quest suffered a blow yesterday after South African bloc rallied behind his rival. Kweli, the 11th hour. Mambo ya 11th hour. Kizungumkuti there.
Tumbo joto.
Tumbo joto. Tunajaribu kuangalia tutajoin SADC vipi, lakini tomorrow is the day. We shall be there. Another story there, report lays bare drug abuse crisis in varsities. This was a survey by Nakada released yesterday. And it says that university students are increasingly abusing bang and other hard drugs through edibles such as cookies, mabuyu, lollipops, and
mabuyu mumeweka vitu kwa mabuyu.
Wachaneni na mabuyu, at least hiyo. Angalau hiyo. It also shows that female students are fast catching up with their male counterparts in substance abuse. You know, I'd agree to this. Mahali nimesoma mimi, ladies were doing the most. Valentine's Day special pale out with roses, in with money bouquets. And on Valentine's Day, many women received red roses or teddy bears clutching love messages or are taken out for dinners. Others receive words of appreciation, hugs and kisses or smiles. But some Kenyan men are going above and beyond to show appreciation by gifting their lovers extravagant bouquets made of crisp currency notes.
Hao ndio hawatakuja men's conference. Hao ndio wanaharibu hii.
Tutawaweka,
wanaharibu, wanachafua soko hao.
Wewe wacha. Wacha mambo yako.
Tumewaona na men's conference, you are not welcome. That is simping.
You will go to heaven direct. All right, matters politics there. Gachagwa's allies kicked out of top Senate posts, and allies of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in the Senate have been removed from chairperson positions of powerful committees as the purge gets underway. Story on page 7. Waititu fails to raise fine, sent to prison, and that's the Daily Nation.
All right. Tuangazie gazeti lingine, na this is a People Daily. They talk about how Waititu stole 221 million shillings. And they paint a picture of the money trail from the county government of Kiambu. This is the amount that went to Testimony Enterprise Limited Director Charles Chege and wife. Some of this cash found its way to Charles Chege Mbuthia Director Testimony. So they break it down mpaka mali imefika Lake Naivasha Resort, sold Bienvenue Hotel to Waititu. Eventually, Waititu alibaki na pesa ngapi kwa hiyo? Sasa ako jela. Right. Showing love for nature, this Valentine is there on the top strip also. Some Valentine touch on the front page. Ruto's plot to salvage Wetangúla. That debate on what's happening in Parliament and whether or not Speaker Wetangúla is biased and should be removed. Meanwhile, 40 MPs flock to Addis for Raila's big day in the sun. So wametumia hii kama excuse. Valentine's Day hawako, wameenda Addis Ababa.
Yes.
Ati tunaenda kusaidia baba Addis Ababa.
Yeah.
Hawa tunaona. That's the People Daily.
Na wakasema msijali, they are not using your money. They are only sponsoring 4.
Wako na pesa yao.
Yes.
Let's take a look at business news.
Chaos as the USAid contracts grants in Kenya terminated. Now, the US government has begun issuing notices terminating contracts and grants to programs it funds through non-governmental organizations in Kenya, marking an escalation from an earlier directive by President Trump, freezing billions of dollars in overseas aid support for 90 days. Now, USAid on Wednesday said termination notices to several top NGOs it funds in Kenya, sparking chaos of job losses and potential lawsuits by service providers, landlords, and contractors who have been tapped by the organization. Now, over 35,000 workers, USAid workers in Kenya, are going to lose their jobs following this. Quite unfortunate. Down there are 4 Cusco ex-officials charged with fraud, theft. Now, 4 former officials of Cusco have been charged with 82.8 million shillings stealing from the farm, even as security agencies intensified a manhunt for other suspects implicated in a 13.3 billion shillings fraud. And they make mention of them here. Jacqueline Atieno Molo, a former Cusco legal officer, was yesterday jointly charged with George Magutu Mwangi, that is former national chairman, George Ochola Owino, former finance manager, and Mercy Mutho, head of radio project. Here we see also matters love here, flowers in Auzo Pale. Florists are eating big today. On the ticker, Treasury raises domestic borrowing by 181 billion shillings. KRA cleared to claim 1.7 billion tax from that is RVR. On the top strip, is it conceivable that West Kenya and Sarai can coexist peacefully and work together within the premises of Mumias? That is Jaindi Kisero, quoted there on page 9 of this newspaper. And that is the Business Daily. All
right. Let's take a look at the cartoons. And today, the theme, of course, across is Valentine's. And they try to draw parallels between what you're going through and Valentine's Day celebrations. And given that report by Nakada on how young people are using drugs, that's what the cartoon on the People Daily goes with. So happy Valentine's Day. There's a guy there na kona nywele ingine inakaa 00 sura tinginya na anavuruta moshi tayari. Alafu anaambia babe, this is how high my life for you can go. This is how high. And ameshika weed anampa.
Wanataka tuingie box. Now that they think that they're also wasema
kina dada ndio wanataka hii mambo zaidi. Remember, weed or marijuana or bang is illegal. It's an illegal substance in Kenya. Ukipatikana nayo utafungwa. Cartoon there, vijana wanapatia babe weed.
This is the Daily Nation. AUC pale, we are seeing the 3 candidates wa AUC hapa katikati wakijaribu kuomba
kurusha mistari.
Yes. Kwa AUC, you see the map of Africa pale on top of it, and you see Mahandrat.
It's a depiction of this Africa. This is a proper African woman.
Please. We also want it. We see Raila Odinga, Kenya's here. We see Djibouti's Ali there.
Alafu Raila ndo amepiga magoti. Yeye ndo anataka sana. Yeye anataka, wengine wana bend tu, yeye anapiga magoti kama simp.
Umeita Raila Molo.
Ni cartoon. Na ni cartoonist amesema, cartoonist wa Daily Nation.
Sio wewe.
Mimi sijui kuchora hata.
All right.
On the Star, it's about Babayao, who was sentenced to 12 years in prison yesterday with the option of paying a 53 million shilling fine. Na hapa anaonekana anaambiwa na the judiciary, you could actually be out in time for your Valentine's date. We raised to your 53.6 million shillings. Na kama uko na pesa za Tanzania, ni bilioni moja tu.
Only 1 billion.
Only 1 billion Tanzanian money. And you'll be out in time for your Valentine's, because you can actually get out today if he manages to pay that fine. That's a cartoon on the Star.
This is the standard. Tumbo imejaa cabinet and inaambia pale budget, happy Valentine's my love. Budget imenona, it's a 4.2 trillion budget.
Yendo Valentine mnakuja namna hii.
Yes.
Hey, I tell you. Lakini mbona ametumia shati ya purple? Unajua ile jamaa shati ya purple anajulikana, si mimi nimesema ni cartoonist. Anyway, on State of the Nation today being Friday, the Youth Perspective, Kabala Kile, National Deputy Chairperson, People's Liberation Party, that's formerly NAK Kenya, will be in studio, alongside Nick Mwangi, Secretary General